You see children, they won't clean a boat, they won't clean a house. I mean, pay that. You can't find an American kid, a white kid, to do any kind of work. They won't clean a boat, they won't clean a house, they won't babysit, they won't walk a dog. They're a bunch of spoiled drug addicts. An entire generation of children raised to think that the world owes them a living, and they walk around with a snotty attitude that I don't know where it comes from. You know, look, I got to be harsh about this. I watch, I largely live in the suburbs. I stay in the city part-time, and I move around through many locations for obvious reasons. But a lot of my time is spent in the safe white suburbs, so to speak. I mean, let's call it like what it is. No matter how liberal they say they are, they don't want anyone around them who doesn't look like them, even though they vote lib. That's the way they are. And you watch them in their child raising, and sometimes you have to shake your head. Whether it be a young mother who probably is on a prescription drug herself, and all she's obsessed with is her abs, feeding her child a jelly donut and a cocoa in the morning on her way to school, along with his Ritalin tablet, knowing nothing about diet and a child's behavior, nothing, and she doesn't want to know about it. All she wants to know is to get the brat into school so she can go have the affair or go to the exercise class for 4 hours. Whether it is a pair of white parents who are a little older than I was when I had my first child, taking a brat to a restaurant, 8:30, 9, I shake my head. When do they stay home with them? When do they stay home? Don't they do homework? Isn't there a safe time to go to a restaurant where you don't have to listen to? And the crayons. Fine dining around a kid with a crayon or a coloring book? I can't even digest when they pull out the Crayolas. Why are they in the restaurant with the child, with Crayolas, educating them? And they always do it to show how smart they are and the child is. Last night I went to a place. It was downscale Italian. I figured I could escape it, but no, it got worse. There was a father at an adjacent table. I couldn't believe what I was listening to. I had to take the food home. I had to leave. Now, he wasn't a bad guy, don't get me wrong. But I had to listen to an entire lesson. As the children are eating, he says to them, during the Cuban Missile Crisis of the 1960s, who was president? I'm not making this up. And the children have to repeat to the father, who was the attorney on the U.S. Supreme Court? And I'm trying to eat. I couldn't even get a piece of bread down my gullet. So as I say, I packed it up and left. What is this lesson at a dinner? Why do I have to hear it? To understand you're a smart, liberal man, and you're intelligent, and your children are as bright as you, and they're going to learn to screw everyone around them when they grow up like you do for a living with your law degree? That's what you're telling me? That they're not going to be like the ordinary person. They're going to learn how to screw everybody, just like daddy? Why do I have to hear this? Is there no hour when there are no children? Now, look, I love children. I raise children. But at a certain point, it seems to me it's child abuse to have them in a restaurant. So I say to myself, don't they do homework anymore? I know they don't babysit. I know they don't wash a car or a boat for a buck. They don't do chores. Do they do homework? No, unless the homework is how to put a condom on a cucumber, or how to learn how racist white people are, or to learn that marijuana is healthy for you and tobacco. Tobacco is bad for you. Marijuana is healthy for you. So is there no time of day? When I raised my children, if we went into a restaurant and the kids started to make any kind of noise, I immediately picked them up and I went out of the restaurant, talked to them. I said, look, there were other people, and even if they didn't understand me, I said to them, you can't make noise in the restaurant. There are other people eating, and they want to have a nice dinner. So please, if we go back, you can't make noise. You can't make one of your famous cocktails out of the salt and the pepper and the ketchup and the mustard and the soy sauce and mix it and pass it around. No, you can't make that famous cocktail that you two like to pass around with each other, because I'm liable to puke on the table. That's in the Chinese restaurants. They used to make a cocktail. So, look, children can be fun. They're great. But is there not a time of night anymore when you go in a restaurant when they're not there? 10 o'clock, they're still there. There they are, the little people. The little people without any controls on them. How about the parents who let them run around in a restaurant after the little ones have eaten? You're trying to eat. It's 9:30 already. It's child abuse. They're running in the restaurant. Woo! Back and forth, down the aisle, up and down. The owner can't say anything. The maitre d' can't say anything, because if they do, they get sued. Probably from the father who's letting him do it in order to set him up for a lawsuit, because he's a smart father. He's the one who asks them who was the president during the Cuban Missile Crisis of the 1960s, who was the lawyer who went on to the Supreme Court and passed Roe v. Wade. during the second course of the dinner. Oh, yeah, it's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing. Yakima, Washington. Jeff, welcome to the Savage Nation. Go ahead, please.
Hey, Michael, I hope you're getting me okay on reception because I'm driving somewhere I probably might lose you.
I can hear you fine, so what's on your mind?
Well, I just love listening to your show because you're right on with things and you're calling it how it is. When I was raised, was probably like your kids were raised, and my mom would backhand us if we didn't have any manners.
That's right.
And today, I go to Walmart or anywhere, which is unfortunate to shop there, but anyway, the babysitter is Walmart. The kids run around, they run into you, they go wherever they want to, they're bumping into you.
Oh, yeah, they're running into you. How about the running into you? I'm afraid to even let them bang into me for fear that they'll say I touched them inappropriately.
Well, and they don't say, excuse me. No kids nowadays.
No, I've seen that. I can't believe it. They run right into your groin, for example. And you can't even say anything. You're fear that they'll call the police for child molestation.
You're right on. You're right on.
Well, now you can thank your wonderful friends in the same-sex marriage brigade with law degrees for that one. Thanks for the call. 1-800-449-8255, michaelsavage.com. So there it is. That's a little side note of what's going on in the society, the decline and fall of America. It's everywhere. And so where are the values? Where are the values? Americans like to think they live in a democracy. But frankly, as I analyze it, right now the country we live in is more like a limited monarchy along the lines of what England had 200 years ago. Now, why do I say a thing like that? After all, we seem to be watching a Democratic presidential campaign. Well, no. We have a king or a president whose powers are supposedly limited by laws in the Constitution. But as the liberal dictatorship in the United States has grown stronger, now under Bush and soon apparently under B.O., I believe we're moving closer to an absolute monarchy, not a limited monarchy. And that's the kind of system in which the king or president has absolute authority over everything, in which there is no constitution or body of law above what is decreed by the sovereign, in which only a powerless or symbolic opposition exists that the monarch can alter or dissolve at will. That's John McCain. That's the symbolic opposition, who is certainly dissolved at will by the monarch called the liberal media establishment. Now, we've seen absolute monarchies before. Louis XIV of France had one before the French Revolution. King Charles I tried to establish one before the English Civil War, and the Tsars had one in Russia before it was overthrown in 1917. But the despots of today play a smarter game. Just as we thought that B.O. was a sure thing, now we're seeing polls that put him dead even with McCain. Now, I know why this is the case. The news networks have enormous campaign ad revenue on the line, so they have to keep it interesting for the audience and keep you guessing and thinking there's still a contest. And the Republicans have to keep hope alive for their idiotic base. So America tries to pretend it's still a democracy with a real election. And the pollsters. The other day, it was Obama ahead by 14 points. Now suddenly they're neck and neck. Why would the pollsters do that? Because they make a buck selling polls. And if you stop reading the polls, they couldn't make a buck. So they want you to think there's still a horse race. They want you to think that you're not living in a monarchy, moving into from a limited monarchy into an absolute monarchy. But I think you know better. I'm Michael Savage, and I approve of my thoughts. 1-800-449-8255. I'll be right back.
Talk.